At the crossroads of power and posterity, the Habsburgs forged monuments that redefined human achievement. Indeed, their palaces rose from European soil as expressions of absolute authority, where architectural perfection met imperial might in a dance of stone and grandeur. Here, in chambers where candlelight once flickered across priceless artworks, Europe's most powerful dynasty orchestrated the fate of nations. Thus, in today's episode, we'll take you through every gilded corridor that holds secrets of succession and scandal, showing how the Habsburg family transformed their vision of authority into architectural masterpieces that still command awe after centuries. First on our list of legendary palaces of the Habsburg family is Schönbrunn Palace, a place that has often been compared to Versailles, and its scale, history and artistic details reflect the cultural prominence of the Habsburg rulers. Situated in Vienna's 13th district, it was once the summer retreat for the imperial family. Construction began in 1696 under Emperor Leopold I, and Johann Bernhard Fischer von Erlach's original design set the stage for a Baroque masterpiece. Later, during Empress Maria Theresa's reign, renovations and expansions shaped the complex into what visitors experience today. These efforts, credited to Fischer von Erlach and Nicolaus Percassi, generated a building that blends opulent interiors with meticulous landscaping. A defining characteristic is its 1,441 rooms, only 40 of which are open to the public. They illustrate the grandeur of both Baroque and Rococo styles, as seen in areas like the Great Gallery, historically used for large receptions. The Millions Room, featuring rare rosewood and Mughal miniatures, and the Vieux Lac Room, with sumptuous red and gold decor, emphasize the luxurious tastes of the imperial family. Another highlight is the Mirror Room, famous for hosting a 6-year-old Mozart's first public performance. Beyond the palace walls, visitors can explore gardens spanning 176 hectares, or 435 acres, laid out in the formal Baroque tradition. The Great Parterre, the largest open section, includes manicured flower beds and geometric patterns that form a striking visual corridor leading to the Neptune Fountain. This fountain's sculptural elements exemplify Baroque artistry. At the top of a gentle rise stands the Gloriette, a grand pavilion offering sweeping views of Vienna. Farther within the grounds is Tiergarten Schönbrunn, established in 1752 and recognized as the oldest zoo in operation. Emperors and empresses frequented this zoological garden, which remains a center for conservation and education. Schönbrunn's historical significance includes its role as the birthplace of Emperor Franz Joseph I in 1830. It was also central in the early life of Marie Antoinette, who grew up here before moving to the French court. Following the collapse of the monarchy in 1918, this palace opened to the public as a museum. Today, its brightly hued exterior, famously called Schönbrunn Yellow or Habsburg Yellow, distinguishes it from many other European palaces. This distinctive paint scheme, applied in the 19th century, replaced sections of the original Rococo facade and became a color strongly associated with imperial authority. In addition to its museum function, Schönbrunn hosts cultural events and concerts. Visitors are free to walk through selected rooms and meander through the extensive gardens, tracing the same paths once reserved for royalty. This palace remains a major landmark for Vienna, drawing millions of guests each year. Its layered architectural history, lavish decorations, and celebrated gardens highlight the Habsburg influence on Europe's artistic and political landscapes. Schönbrunn's enduring allure captures a period when royal patronage and Baroque design flourished, connecting present-day admirers to centuries of imperial tradition. Number 2. Hofburg Palace, Vienna. For more than 6 centuries, the Hofburg Palace in central Vienna served as the main seat of the Habsburg dynasty. Construction began in the 13th century, and over 700 years of architectural evolution have produced a sprawling complex that covers around 240,000 square meters. Within its walls, styles range from Gothic and Renaissance to Baroque and Rococo, reflecting the many phases of expansion initiated by successive rulers. Today, it continues to be a focal point of Austria's identity, housing the official residence of the President of Austria and the Austrian National Library. One of the most popular attractions at the Hofburg is the Imperial Apartments, which invite visitors to step into the private chambers of Emperor Franz Joseph and Empress Elizabeth, better known as Empress Sisi. These rooms present a snapshot of how the imperial family lived, highlighting personal tastes and day-to-day customs. Another draw is the Sisi Museum, where more than 300 items bring Empress Elizabeth's story to life. Among the noteworthy exhibits are replicas of her Hungarian coronation gown, mourning jewelry worn after her son's tragic death, and a reconstruction of her railway sleeping car. Together, they convey the public adoration for a figure often portrayed in literature and film. The Imperial Treasury is another essential stop. Here, visitors can see the crown jewels of both the Holy Roman Empire and the Austrian Empire, including the imperial crown, orb, and scepter. These objects underscore the scope of Habsburg authority. The collection also features a legendary narwhal tusk, once mistaken for a unicorn horn, and the agate bowl from late antiquity, which was linked to medieval myths about the Holy Grail. This treasury preserves tangible connections to centuries of European history and myth. Adjacent to these regal exhibits is the Spanish riding school, renowned for its Lipizzaner horses and classical dressage performances. The Baroque winter riding school, constructed between 1729 and 1735, stages events that date back to courtly traditions of the 16th century. Both locals and visitors gather to witness the precise maneuvers that define high school horsemanship, underscoring the institution's long-standing dedication to equestrian artistry. Though much of the Hofburg's function has changed, a timeless charm remains. Seasonal highlights like the traditional Christmas market have taken place here since 1935, and the Austrian National Library's historic hall stands out as one of Europe's finest literary spaces. This library's ornate interior preserves volumes that illuminate scientific, artistic, and philosophical strides made during the Habsburg era. Taken as a whole, the Hofburg complex demonstrates the breadth of imperial influence. Art, ceremony, and governance converged in these corridors, leaving behind a legacy visible in architectural layers and collections of priceless artifacts. The palace allows modern observers to consider how politics, culture, and daily life blended within the vast network of Habsburg power. Number 3. Hofburg Innsbruck, Tyrol. Alongside Vienna's imperial landmarks, the Hofburg in Innsbruck stands as one of Austria's foremost historic cultural sites. With origins tracing back to the 15th century, it embodies the grandeur favored by Habsburg rulers, yet its location in the Tyrolean Alps lends it a distinct character. Initial construction is credited to Archduke Sigmund the Rich, who began raising the core structure in late Gothic style. Emperor Maximilian I later contributed his own vision, though the most transformative renovations were conducted under Empress Maria Theresa in the 18th century, introducing Viennese Rococo details that survive to this day. Among the palace's main attractions is the Giant's Hall, recognized as Western Austria's grandest banquet room. Full-length portraits of Maria Theresa, Francis Stephen of Lorraine, and their 16 children line the hall, all created by Martin van Muytens and his workshop. Above, Franz Anton Malbertsch's ceiling frescoes from around 1770 display themes like the union of the Habsburg and Lorraine dynasties. The room accommodates over 170 guests and took its name from earlier Hercules frescoes that once adorned the walls. These visual statements reveal how rulers cultivated an image of prosperity and continuity through art. Another highlight is the Empress Elizabeth apartment, returned to its 18th century appearance with appropriate furnishings. Visitors can see a salon, a study, a dressing room, and several bedrooms, each painted in different hues that reflect the late 19th century aesthetic. This area offers a closer look at daily imperial routines, from personal grooming practices to the design preferences popular during the Habsburg monarchy's twilight years. The palace further houses a Habsburg portrait gallery along its ceremonial staircase, featuring depictions of emperors from Joseph I through Franz Joseph I. These images capture a dynasty's lineage and evolving identity across 2 centuries. The guard hall exhibits large-scale battle scenes related to the Ottoman Wars, specifically highlighting Charles V of Lorraine's role. On a similar historical note, the council chamber displays major orders such as the Order of St. Stephen, the Order of the Golden Fleece, and the German Order. In a more reflective space, the Hofburg Chapel, erected in 1765 to 1766, occupies the very room where Emperor Francis I died. Its Rococo decorations include a cartouche carrying Maria Theresa's initials, intertwining personal remembrance with religious devotion. Today, the Hofburg in Innsbruck functions as a museum that preserves architectural and cultural heritage. Visitors can walk through rooms still adorned with 18th century furnishings, stand beneath Baroque frescoes, and appreciate the extensive art collections moved here from Vienna. These elements tell a story of a powerful dynasty that shaped Central Europe's political, artistic, and social development. By combining alpine scenery with imperial extravagance, the Hofburg Innsbruck provides an unconventional lens on Habsburg history and the family's lasting impact. Number 4. Schloss Ambras, Innsbruck. Standing on a hill overlooking Innsbruck, Schloss Ambras exemplifies the Renaissance spirit favoured by certain Habsburg patrons in the 16th century. Archduke Ferdinand I spearheaded its transformation, shaping it into a residence that reflected a deep interest in art, science, and collecting rare objects. The structure's foundations go back to the 10th century, but it was under Ferdinand II that an extensive Renaissance redesign took place between 1563 and 1595. Today, it is affiliated with the Kunsthistorisches Museum in Vienna and remains a place where art meets architectural innovation. One of the best-known features is the Spanish Hall, a light-filled ceremonial space approximately 43 meters long and 10 meters wide. 33 arches line its sides, and it displays 27 portraits of Tyrolean rulers, each set against a background of allegorical themes and mythological references. The hall also hosts concerts and events, including the Ambras Castle concerts and programs for the Innsbruck Festival of Early Music. The Renaissance aesthetic shines through in the vibrant frescoes that decorate the walls and ceiling. Another remarkable draw is the Habsburg Portrait Gallery, with over 200 portraits from the 15th to the 19th centuries. Esteemed artists such as Lucas Cranach the Younger, Giuseppe Arcimboldo, Peter Paul Rubens, and Diego Velázquez contributed to this collection. Visitors can follow a visual chronology of Habsburg figures, starting with Albert III and concluding with Emperor Francis I. Each portrait underscores how dynastic imagery played a critical role in asserting authority and shaping public perceptions of the family's power. The Chamber of Art and Curiosities, often called a Kunstkammer, stands out for its historical significance. It remains in its original location and showcases an eclectic mix of items, including scientific instruments, natural marvels, and objects acquired from diverse parts of the world. During the 16th century, having such a display was a mark of sophistication and intellectual curiosity. Archduke Ferdinand II was especially keen on bridging the gap between art and the sciences, which is evident in the wide range of curiosities on show. Additionally, Schloss Ambras boasts the armories, where the hero's armory features 121 suits of armor worn by well-known military leaders. The Strasser Glass collection presents one of the largest assortments of Renaissance and Baroque glassware, reflecting the era's technological and artistic achievements. The bathing chambers of Philippine Welser, Ferdinand II's wife, still exist and highlight daily comforts from centuries past. A section known as the Gothic Hall preserves late medieval sculptures and Emperor Maximilian I's St. George's altar, connecting multiple periods of art within the same estate. Today, Schloss Ambras appeals to families as well as art enthusiasts with its English-style gardens, duck pond and playground. Its enduring cultural importance stems from an unusual melding of collecting, scholarship and architecture, revealing how certain Habsburg figures blended personal taste with global influences to create a unique environment. Number 5. El Escorial, Spain. Though it stands outside Austrian borders, El Escorial near Madrid underscores how far-reaching Habsburg authority once was. Commissioned by King Philip II of Spain between 1563 and 1584, it ranks among the most ambitious projects of the Renaissance. The complex covers about 33,000 square meters and incorporates a royal palace, monastery, basilica, library, museum, school, and the Pantheon of Kings. Its original design is said to mirror descriptions of Solomon's Temple, and the floor plan forms a gridiron shape that commemorates the martyrdom of St. Lawrence. These architectural details led some observers to call it the eighth wonder of the world. The royal palace section served as the principal residence of Spanish monarchs. Philip II's private apartments there reflect his religious fervor, featuring a window that allowed him to attend mass from bed when gout rendered him immobile. Visitors can also see the Hall of Battles, adorned with frescoes illustrating key Spanish victories. This room underscores the dynasty's efforts to weave together faith and military power, an approach visible throughout the entire structure. Meanwhile, the monastery portion was originally entrusted to Hieronymite monks, though it is now managed by the Order of St. Augustine. This religious hub holds a legendary library that still houses more than 75,000 early printed books and manuscripts, including texts on esoteric subjects once studied with caution. Another noteworthy element is one of the most comprehensive reliquaries in Europe, which is open to public viewing on specific feast days. Royal patrons intended these displays to legitimize their rulership by highlighting their devotion and spiritual standing. Deep within El Escorial lies the Pantheon of Kings, where the remains of many Habsburg and Bourbon monarchs rest. In total, 26 marble sepulchres line this space, containing members of the royal lineage from Charles I onward. A pudridero, or decaying chamber, is used to allow remains to decompose before their final placement. The most recent monarch interred here is King Alfonso XIII, brought to El Escorial in 1980. Visitors find it a solemn contrast to the building's more public areas, emphasizing the dynasty's lasting presence in Spanish history. Beyond its primary functions as a palace and religious center, El Escorial houses a basilica featuring a dome inspired by St. Peter's in Rome and a royal library with frescoes reminiscent of the Sistine Chapel's grandeur. The overall structure includes more than 4,000 rooms, 1,200 doors, and over 2,600 windows. These features point to a vision that melded imperial might with Catholic identity, shaping a cultural complex where art and devotion converge. Modern visitors encounter a monument that preserves the essence of Spain's golden age. Each hall, chapel, and gallery recounts the ways Habsburg sovereignty extended beyond Austria's borders and into the center of Iberian power. El Escorial remains a UNESCO World Heritage Site, celebrating the blend of spiritual ideals, scholarly pursuits, and royal ambitions that characterized Philip II's remarkable reign. And now, we'd love to see you in the comments. Which of these palaces do you find to be the most exquisite? And have you visited any of them? We can't wait to hear from you, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Old Money Mansions. Cheers, until next time.